Thank you for tuning in to Koppen with Critic. I'm Brian Koppen, and we're here with critic Josh Friedberg. Josh Friedberg, how the hell are you?
I'm doing great, Brian. How about you?
Oh, good. Thank you so much for coming on. This is a brand new thing, but Josh Friedberg is a critic of some note and some esteem. Where can we find all your writing collected in one place, though? Because you probably write for more than one place.
Linktree, it's linktr period /JoshFriedberg.
Good. That's important. And even here, we can see your socials, but also a lot of the. Do you also have a Substack here? Because I see a
I
link to
do, I do.
Spectrum Sounds.
Yes.
And so, yeah, so kind of how often are you publishing on Substack, and what
At
kind of things are
least
you writing there?
at least twice a month, sometimes personal essays, sometimes links to other work in other places, sometimes just listicles about music I love in different themes like grief or whatever. And readings and books I'm reading. It's a personal product to me, but I just want to add that it got first place in a national communications contest for personal website in that category last year.
Really?
And I was really proud of that because I don't consider myself especially tech savvy, but I'm proud that they like my content. So I'm happy
So
about
that
that.
was Spectrum Sounds.
Yes.
Wow, my lord, there's like 4 billion Substacks, so that's pretty good.
Yeah.
So and it's not all music. And when you publish with other places, you're on other sites. I know. Is it always music, or is it different kinds of reviews?
It's usually, well, for reviews, it's always music. I've written some articles for Pop Matters on books about music or relating to thinking about music or anything else, including the writing of James Baldwin and others. But mostly it focuses on music.
Oh, good. Okay, well, that's what we're talking about today. We're talking about music. This is the first Hall of Fame face-off, and what that means is each of us has to pick. I think we each pick seven songs, at least one from each of five Music Hall of Fame artists. And so we each have our five artists. The other person knows them in advance, and we each picked one or two songs from each. And so I get to go first, and the reason why I go first is because it's going to is kind of strategic to let you go second, because I'm going to say my song and then you get to say, weak song or a strong song. And so if I do something huge like the best Beatles song ever, maybe you're going to, pick a sacrificial lamb and pick a weaker one. And so with that in mind, I am going to go first, and I'll let you go first, second, meaning next round. And the first song I will pick, let's do Leonard Cohen's Future. And so,
Future. Oh, sorry,
yeah,
go ahead.
yeah, Future. Were you able to listen to it?
Yes, I was. Do you want my impressions of it?
Yeah, absolutely. Tear it to pieces, or what do you like about it? What don't you like about it?
It's a bit of the same coin for both. It's very grandiose lyrically, which I like, but it also sounds a little over the top, but it's brilliant at the same time. Leonard Cohen, I just want to say, is one of those lyricists and songwriters that I have immense respect for, but I sometimes get lost in his recordings if there are just his voice doesn't grab me as much
Okay.
as some of other people recording his songs, but that's a good song.
Yeah,
You
he's
know,
one of the most covered artists, probably with Hallelujah or whatever.
Yeah, and honestly, I grew up listening some to 60s folk music. And so people like Judy Collins and Joan Baez covered a lot of Leonard Cohen's songs. That's how
Oh,
I heard his songwriting first.
oh, and so you kind of
And
grew to
this
love
sounds like
their.
it's a later recording of his. Yeah,
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
go ahead.
you grew to love their versions first.
Yes.
Okay. And this couldn't be further than that. I guess Famous Blue Raincoat is a little bit closer, but we might get to that soon. Now, when you say grandiose, do you mean lyrically or musically?
More lyrically.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. Lyrically, it's pretty over the top, and so I mean, it's provocative. A couple of those lyrics are just amazing. I won't even say them here because they're a little bit blue. I guess Leonard Cohen works blue, and that's kind of the opposite side of the famous blue raincoat coin. And so yeah, so I like Future a lot. I think some of his later stuff sounds the same with all the organs and things like that, and the choirs in the background. That final album of his, you want it darker. That's a nice song without the choir and things like that. So I think he ultimately ditched it. But that's my song. You choose yours.
All right. My choice for a song that might seem really weak to a lot of people, but has a similar kind of grandiosity in a different way. It's more musically, is Michael Jackson's Will You Be There Yes, from the film Free Willy. I know it's corny, whatever.
Oh, I loved
I
it.
sh
I love seeing this. I was like, man, because then I listened to it and I was like, oh, okay, the Free Willy song
right.
ain't so bad.
He had an amazing voice that sometimes he gets credit for, but the thing that I love about Will You Be There is I think it's maybe the best vocal he ever did. And that's saying something. Little Richard, of all people, said Michael's one of the few people in rock and roll that can really sing. Most people are just screaming and hollering. And he was right.
Yeah,
And
and
this is just a beautifully heartfelt, impassioned vocal. And yeah, it gets, teary towards the end and the poem he reads and things like that. But I love that record.
yeah, there's a couple minutes in where it goes into a bridge that I don't love a lot, but it sets up just his vocal fireworks,
Yeah.
and his vocals on the song are just surprisingly amazing. Yeah, I had to, yeah, I do have to mention that at about 4:40 or 4.5 minutes, something like that, the talking starts, and I think it goes for the rest of the long song, and it's Michael in his trials and tribulations and violence and turbulence and things, and it just kind of it reminds me in a bad way of some of that testimony, like Michael was just in the news for bad, just for
Yeah.
allegations and things like that. But he also kind of voluntarily was talking about how I don't know, the TSA had, touched him or whatever. And it was so odd to, I mean, it was his truth, etc. But like, it's just so odd to see that so publicized. And it
Yeah.
reminded me too much of the poem at the end.
Yeah, fair.
And like, so why did you, I mean, you picked it because you think it's one of Michael's kind of better vocal songs. What do you think about it? How does it even fit in the song? I mean, I'm
That's a
sorry.
good question.
Let me say that again. How does it even fit in the movie? Like, yeah, all we remember is Free Willy jumping, and I think that's
Yeah.
when the song was. Well, yeah. How many times was it in the movie? Was it just during the credits? Was it during some emotional moment that maybe you connect memories with?
What I remember of that movie, I had it on VHS, so it's been a long time. Um, they had the music video of Will You Be There at the beginning of it before the film. The only part of the film I remember is at the end when Willie is free and jumps and everything, and then he's reciting that poem in the ending credits.
No, Michael's poem is during the credits.
Yes.
I just thought they'd chop it out. Like what? I mean, you don't have to
No.
put the whole song in there.
Well, I don't know if they played the whole song before that or just parts of it earlier in
Oh,
the film
okay,
and some later or what,
okay.
but yeah.
But what you're saying is that this poem, this kind of provocative poem, or this we have differences of opinion about the poem, maybe, but it didn't play a key role in the movie. Okay, well, let's move on to another song. We won't say who wins that just because I don't know yet. Um, let's have you pick first.
All right. I wanted to pick Aretha Franklin's Ain't No Way, which is one of my favorite recordings of hers.
Oh,
She recorded it for the album Lady Soul, released in 1968, and it was written by her sister Carolyn Franklin.
really? Her
Yeah.
sister wrote for her often,
Yeah,
or is this just the
sometimes
one time?
more than one time, but not a
Okay,
ton.
okay. And why do you like it so much?
I get chills listening to her sing, especially in the bridge where she says, I need you, and she shouts it. I remember reading a review that I really had issues with in different ways, talking about that album in terms of its melodic obliteration, in quotes, or
Oh,
obliteration of melody or something like that.
yeah.
But it acknowledged how emotionally it is right on the money. And that's why I love it so much. Yeah, that's all I'll say for now.
Yeah, like 3 minutes in, that's where I don't know, some great high singing. I mean, I could see that you pick it just based on that. The song, I think, I don't know. She wants to be allowed to love somebody. Is that kind of your understanding of this song?
She wants to love somebody who's, I guess, unavailable, is how I
Yeah,
understood it.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, does that kind of, do the lyrics resonate? Are you a lyrical critic or not really? Like, do you
I'm
focus on music
somewhat
first or lyrics first?
music first.
Okay. And
I, I
yeah, this musically is pretty strong.
Yeah, and it was produced during her famed tenure at Atlantic Records from the mid 60s, 1966. She first recorded, I believe, I Never Loved a Man the Way I Love You, or in Muscle Shoals, maybe, to like the late 70s. But especially her late 60s, early 70s work of that time is just unreal. And I think lyrically, It's less important. I would say this, Otis Redding, who is a soul singer of that time as well, was in some ways better with lyrical interpretation than she was.
Okay, like
Just in my,
her phrasing was not always perfect for the lyrics she was singing to it or
yeah,
singing it. Yeah.
and the thing is, sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, yeah. So is that kind of what you mean by his phrasing was just it shaped the words better than hers did?
It's partly that, and it's partly that, especially with other people's music, Otis Redding was maybe the greatest interpreter
Oh,
of other people's words in terms of making songs, including Satisfaction from the Rolling Stones and many, many others, his
wow.
own. His Try a Little Tenderness is one of my all-time favorite records. So is, I should note, Aretha's version of his song, Respect. They're both in the top echelon of my favorite singles songs ever. And I think Ain't No Way deserves to be in that conversation. It's not as great in my opinion as Respect, but it moves me very much emotionally.
And so you're saying that Otis Redding covered her respect, or she covered his respect?
She covered his Respect. He recorded it first on the
Really?
album Otis Blue
Okay.
from 1965. Supposedly there's debate if he stole it from somebody else or anything like that, but he's credited with writing it
Okay.
and performing it on the album Otis Blue from 1965, and she recorded it for her 1967 album I Never Loved a Man the Way I Love You in
And it just took off in popularity.
yes, it became like a civil rights anthem, kind of a feminist anthem too in different ways, and it just took over the world. Not literally, but something along those
No, literally, absolutely.
lines.
But no, I like Ain't No Way a lot. I do, musically, I think it's great. I think 2 minutes in, there were some good horns, and of course, the singing's amazing, amazing. I like it better than the other song chosen.
Yeah.
And so here I'm going to offer up a sacrificial lamb because of your strong song, and it's Nine Inch Nails, March of the Pigs. Were you able to listen?
Yes, and I've the one album I've listened to more than once of Nine Inch Nails is the Downward Spiral.
Yeah,
And March of the Pigs, it reminds me of the fact that their lyrical content was so dark, but they had these really intense hooks that just
yeah.
grab me as a
Yeah,
listener.
yeah. And the hook on the other song that I chose for Nine Inch Nails is even hookier. But
Yeah.
March of the Pigs, it's got something about, I don't know, just the rhythm of it really is fascinating to me. Like maybe the drums. Did you hear that as current drummers swap drummers but they swap drummers with Foo Fighters?
Oh, really?
Nine Inch Nails, and yeah, I think Foo Fighters got sick of their new drummer, that session guy, Robin Fink or what I don't what I forget what his name is. No, not it's not Robin Fink, but yeah, he's a really famous kind of session drummer who'll session drum for all these stars. I think that he wasn't doing it for the Foo Fighters, and so they got rid of him. And at the same time, the Nine Inch Nails, they offered the gig to the Nine Inch Nails drummer, and so they're like, can we have our old drummer back then? Like, so they pretty much got their old drummer back in the form of Foo Fighters booting him out of the band. And so but yeah, so I think rhythmically they're always very interesting. And so
That's fair.
but as far as like the lyrics, I think I care about lyrics if they're distinct and good or bad. I'm not a guy who will kind of, I can love a song, I love thousands of songs where I don't even know what most of the words are you that way? Do you need to pull out the song sheet, the lyric sheet?
Sometimes I do. Just if it's unintelligible,
You
relatively
do like
speaking,
it's important to you. I mean, is it important to you just in general, like in
not as much as it is for other people. Sorry, go ahead.
like meaning you won't write a review unless you've read the lyrics,
Usually, yes. If it's instrumental music, obviously that's something
right?
different. But like if it's jazz, it's instrumental or anything like that. But if I can't understand the lyrics, I will double check.
Okay.
And I double check lyrics anyway if I'm quoting them. But
Yeah, so
yeah,
here the lyrics are distinct, and they're arguably if you're into hard heavy music, I don't know that they're as good as some of the other Nine Inch Nails songs. But now Nine Inch Nails, what Trent Reznor's winning Oscars and Emmys, etc. So good for him. I think he might have won. I think Nine Inch Nails might have won a couple last night. Did you see the Grammys?
I
Yeah,
did not.
I probably meant Grammys. Yeah. So you did not see it. Are you planning to fire up any performances that you've read about after the fact?
Yeah, on YouTube, sometimes there are a couple that I heard are strong or whatever that I might want to hear.
Yeah, I heard that
I haven't.
Tyler, the creator, I think he got on there and he looked pretty visually stunning. But he also at the Hall of Fame induction for one of your bands, Tyler the Creator performed one of the best songs in the history of time, and so maybe you'll play that soon. So I'll give March of the Pigs loses absolutely to Ain't No Way. And so now I'll name one, and this is going to be impossible if you choose what I think you're going to choose.
Oh.
Let's say I'm going to say Jay-Z and Kanye West N-word in Paris. It's
Ooh.
N-I asterisk asterisk AS in Paris, and I think they might only have the clean version on Spotify, and it's very good. So it's Jay-Z, Jay-Z has a lot of great stuff, but some of the albums, like the Hove album, what was that? Blueprint. I've
Yeah.
kind of over listened to it to the point where something like this just sounds crazy interesting. And of course, Kanye or Ye, now canceled perhaps, but he was very good at production and things like that. And even having him have a verse on there wasn't bad. It was kind of a palate cleanser with Jay-Z because Jay-Z can kind of, start to sound monotonous or whatever. So that, in that way, I think that the song, it works. What do you think?
I I think it does. The what I'm gonna choose up against it, and I don't know if this will be difficult or not, is OutKast B.O.B. Bombs Over Baghdad.
Thank God. That's the best song in the history of time. It's one of my favorites. And so that's why I offered up my weak one.
Oh, okay.
Strategy, Hall of Fame face off. So yeah, tell me
Woohoo.
about B.O.B. because it is masterful. And Tyler the Creator, he is the one who covered it at B.O.B. at the Hall of Fame ceremony. And he's the one who can
Wow.
cover it because he's as dynamic as Andre 3000 or whatever, I think.
Yeah. Absolutely. I'll have to look that up in terms of the title of the creator version. B.O.B. might be my favorite hip hop track of all time. It's hard for me to pick in any genre,
Yeah.
but it's just so dynamic and electrifying musically. And that's one song that I've actually never looked up the lyrics for, but it would probably help me understand it a little bit more in terms of not being unintelligible, but being able to follow a narrative or anything else. I don't know if Bombs Over Baghdad is supposed to be a metaphor. Like before that, they had a song called Rosa Parks that was not at all about Rosa Parks. It was sort of just like a symbol with the line, everybody moved to the back of the bus as
Yeah.
part of it.
Yeah.
I don't know if B.O.B. is supposed to be the same in that way. It was before the second Gulf War, wherever you want to call it, the war in Iraq in 2003. That came out in 2000, I believe. The album Stankonia came out on Halloween.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, as did, and I don't know if I'm allowed to mention other
Oh, please do.
artists
Yeah, please do.
that are not in my list,
Oh,
but
yeah.
PJ Harvey's Stories from the City, Stories from the Sea, I believe, came out
Yes.
the same day. I love that
No,
album.
no, that album, like, first of all, a B.O.B. might be one of the better singles, but the PJ Harvey Stories from the City, Stories from the Sea, or whatever, it might be, I don't know, one of the better albums I've heard.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So that's
And
pretty cool. So both on the same day. My gosh, that was the day the music lived, I think.
right, exactly. And there are some great albums from 2000 that I won't go into a whole list, but I could. Um, I'll just say my favorite is probably D'Angelo's Voodoo. But anyway,
Yeah, he just died. Rest in peace.
yes, he did. Rest in peace. And I heard Lauryn Hill did a tribute to him at the
Oh,
Grammys, which I'm gonna have to watch.
well, there you go. See, now we're thinking of stuff we have to watch from the Grammys. Yeah,
Yeah.
normally it's not really very relevant if you're into kind of, esoteric music or whatever. I mean, if you just have a deep, if you're a voracious listener, chances are that the current pop music might not do it for you as much as it does for, the Taylor Swift stands out there. Did you see the
Right.
video for OutKast, the B.O.B?
Many years ago, I don't remember. I haven't
Yes.
looked it up on YouTube in many years.
Oh, it's so
Um,
much fun. Somebody doing backflips down a hill. It's great. And then I've actually turned my nieces onto this for when they were very very small. And so and one of them is now a Tyler the Creator fan. And so when I sent it to her, she was like, "Yeah, she used to play the song for us, and I love Tyler the Creator, and it's a great version." And they must have picked him because he's just fitting. And so if we don't really mention we don't have much time, and so what I would really love to do is hear you talk about uh, the grunge band, if you would.
Nirvana?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why'd you pick it? Yeah. What's the song? Why'd you pick it?
I picked Where Did You Sleep Last Night, which is you could call it a cover or something like that of a traditional song that Lead Belly got credit for as In the Pines, and Bill Monroe and various bluegrass musicians have done it as In the Pines. The reason I picked it is because it's my favorite Kurt Cobain performance, as especially a vocal. It just I get chills, and I'm probably saying that a lot with like Aretha Franklin and other people, but it's just I love it. And to be honest, because I grew up on folk music, especially at first, MTV Unplugged in New York with that performance
Yeah.
is the album that got me into Nirvana and is probably my favorite of their albums. It
Did you watch the video or no?
a long time ago, yeah, I've
Okay.
seen the Unplugged concert.
And did you see near
Um,
the end when he took a breath finally
yes,
and he just looked at the camera? Now that probably did give me chills.
yes, and I've read things about how that album was not supposed to be their swan song or anything like that, but it is beautiful and harsh and any number of adjectives that I can't even think of, but it just that vocal when he goes up an octave and sings my girl, don't lie to
Yeah.
me. Where did you sleep last night?
Yeah.
Um, tell me where did you sleep last night? I just think what a loss, among other things.
Yeah. Yeah. It was that their last album. They didn't have a studio one
Yeah,
after that.
they had like one studio track that came out years later, I believe
Oh
it
yeah.
was.
You
You
know
know
you're
you're
right.
right.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, and
Yeah, as far like so how close to this death was it?
it was recorded. Well, I don't know about you know you're right. I think that was in '94. He died in April of '94, but I'm not 100% sure on that for the when that song was recorded.
And when was Unplugged?
November, I believe, of 1993, or
Okay.
maybe October, or maybe December. It was in that fall. And then it was released on album a few months after Kurt Cobain died
Oh
on
gosh.
CD. It was, I think, November of '94, but I may be wrong on that.
I do remember buying a coffee table book about Kurt Cobain, so I probably love that performance after his death. And I really don't. I think Nirvana is overrated.
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah, and even as a singer, like a singer who died from grunge, I think the best one in the history of time for me is uh, Lane Staley with Alice in Chains, and their Unplugged is
Oh, yeah.
also worth a listen.
Yeah, that's a good point. I've seen clips of it a long time ago with him singing Rooster and other songs on there.
Oh
I'd
yeah.
love to see that.
Oh, good. Well, Josh Friedberg, tell us again, remind us again of your link tree. Sorry, we didn't get through all your songs today. I think it's Linktree, which of course is linktree period EE / Josh Friedberg, and the last name is spelled FRIEDBERG. Josh Friedberg, thank you so much.
No problem. Thanks for having me.